The member from Nipissing.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Speaker. My question is for the Minister of Finance. Life is unaffordable in Ontario. Families are working harder, paying more and getting less than any other province in the country. That's why the government needs to do more to alleviate the tax burden on the middle class. This weekend, the Ontario PC Party and our leader, Patrick Brown, laid out our plan, the People's Guarantee. One part of that guarantee was a 22.5% cut to income taxes for the middle class.
So that the members realize all members realize I have not changed the direction that I'm trying to bring our House to. Today is no different day. If I'm getting the signals that that is going to change, I will start with warnings very quickly, just to set the tone. Please carry on.
Mr. Speaker, an Ontario PC government would bring real change for middle-class families. Why won't this Liberal government, Speaker?
Thank you. Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, it's a real honour to be able to stand before you and the rest of this House to acknowledge the tremendous work that Ontarians have done to bring our economy to where it is today, and recognizing that it's only been possible because of stimulus and the balanced approach that we've taken to ensure that we recover from this global economic downturn that's been sustained for a long period of time. And yet, Ontario leads Canada. It leads the G7, and for that matter, Mr. Speaker, we are continuing to create more jobs than ever before. The member opposite, the critic, the leader of the opposition, has long advocated for balanced budgets. And, Mr. Speaker, the largest deficit in Canadian history was voted by the leader of the opposition for $60 billion. That is their plan, Mr. Speaker. They're taking the province into deficit going forward.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Thank you, Speaker. I'll send a copy of the plan over to you, and you can have a real look at it, because Ontario used to be a province where if you worked hard, spent wisely, and saved diligently, a family could get ahead. They could build a better future for their children. That's right. But that's not the case in Ontario any longer, Speaker. Families are struggling, and some are falling behind. They need help. That's why we know Ontario families need lower taxes.
Excuse me. Stop the clock. We're in warnings. We're in warnings. Carry on.
22.5% lower income taxes for middle-class families, Speaker, would make a significant difference in the lives of those trying to get ahead. But, Mr. Speaker, we can't trust the Liberals to make life more affordable. Why should anyone in Ontario trust them?
Thank you. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, this government, under the leadership of Premier Kathleen Wynne, we have instituted progressive measures while at the same time becoming and managing our expenses. We are providing free tuition for students, free pharmacare for everyone under the age of 25, 100,000 more childcare spaces. And the member opposite is advocating for cuts. Cuts to education and cuts to health care, Mr. Speaker. That is their plan. And what we on this side of the House will take a balanced approach to ensure that we can afford the things that matter to Ontarians, while that side is cutting revenues and cutting across the board the very services that matter to us. We on this side of the House will always look after the people of Ontario.
Final supplementary.
Thank you. Back to the minister. Well, that is a complete fabrication, Speaker.
The member will withdraw.
Withdraw.
On.
For 14 years, we have seen Liberal insiders get rich at the expense of the people of Ontario. And while the government lined the pockets of high-priced executives, middle-class families struggled. It's not their imagination. Middle-class wages have stagnated for 14 years, while Liberal taxes and fees continue to rise. Thanks to this government, middle-class Ontario is poorer than the average Canadian. So, Mr. Speaker, we have to ask, when did the Liberals decide they were the government for the insiders and no longer for the people?
Thank you. Minister.
Page 76 of their plan made it very clear, Mr. Speaker. Over $12 billion is what's being cut across the board to the people of Ontario. So the question becomes, what are you going to cut? And furthermore, Mr. Speaker, they're making decisions only on election cycles. They don't want to go long-term or look beyond. Mr. Speaker, we got to have a long-term vision of things that matter.
You may choose your last comment. That could get you the warning. When I stand, you stop. Finish, please.
We created over 800,000 net new jobs, primarily in the private sector. The economy is growing. I recognize that many across the province don't feel the same benefit as others with our prosperity. We need to do better, and I did so in the fall economic statement. And I hope the member opposite will approve and support the fall economic statement that does real plan for the real people of this province to make sure that they get real prosperity going forward.